As our plane approached the airport, my mind was full of those first views of Africa, as we flew south over a vast expanse of lakes, jungle, and grassy plain. A lavish continent, with its millions of creatures roaming in a peaceful paradise. But I knew that terror stalked these lands as countries struggled for independence. I'd come from late nights and loud debates in Parliament. Every day I'd been reading reports of new outbreaks of violence. A desire to find the truth, to see what could be done, had drawn me to Africa. I talked about it with my neighbor on the plane. He turned out to be a fellow who could take me to the heart of the trouble more quickly than I could have hoped.
Come this way, please.
Nice airport you have here.
Yes, quite new. It wasn't here when I left.
How long have you been away?
Almost 4 years.
You must be very happy to be coming home again.
Yes, I suppose I am.
Will you all please wait here until your names are called?
Mr. Kamau, I'd like you to meet a friend of mine, Mr. Mark Pierce, the Member of Parliament. Do you know him? Mr. Pierce, I'd like you to meet my friend, Mr. Kamau. Mr. Kamau, Mr. Pierce.
How do you do?
How do you do? Welcome to our country, Mr. Pierce. I know you by your speeches, and I wish success to your mission.
Thank you.
I hope you're getting through here, all right?
Yes, fine, thank you.
You know, it is said of our country that we want nothing so much as to see the back of the white man. But there are some white men, Mr. Pierce, who are always welcome. Excuse me, I must look after my friend over there. You?
I like your Mr. Kamau.
Oh, he's a good man. Seems to know all about you, too.
Only the good things, I'm afraid.
Open this one, please.
I overheard you say you didn't have hotel reservations.
That's right, I haven't made any plans yet. Having troubles?
Happens at every airport. Look, Mr. Pierce, why don't you drive up to the farm with me? You know, it's quite beautiful in the Highlands.
Today?
Yes, right now. As a matter of fact, we're not far from the area where those white settlers were murdered the other day.
You may go, sir.
Well, I don't mean there's any danger where we live. I think you'll enjoy a few days up there.
I most certainly would.
You'll come then?
Yes.
That's great.
Jumbo, Buena, may I take these?
Ah, hello, Jonathan. Jumbo. Didn't my father come to meet me?
Buena, come I stay home with Memsap.
Dear. Well, see you in the car park, Jonathan.
Deal, Buena.
Jonathan's been with our family for donkey's years. Well, come along, Mr. Pierce. You're going to enjoy this. The country's marvelous.
I know. Look, let's take a minute and drive off the road. I'd like you to meet our district officer, Nigel Charter.
Oh, I'd like to do that.
His office is just on the outskirts of the Kingari settlement.
Good.
All right?
Yes.
Well, I hope Nigel's in. He'll be able to give us tea in the latest news.
That'll be wonderful.
A figure happer, Jonathan.
An outpost station was attacked, and the white officer chopped to bits with several of his men. Then, 2 white hunters on safari were murdered. Finally, a settler and his family were burned to death in their farm up near the border. Terrible thing. Boy, child.
What do you think's the cause of such a sudden outbreak?
We don't know exactly. My men jailed a few suspects, and under interrogation, one confessed that it was the work of M. Barley.
And who is Mbali?
Evidently their leader. We can't get our hands on him, don't even know what he looks like. But he exerts a tremendous influence in the whole country.
Amazing.
Haven't caught any of the ringleaders. We sent troops out with trackers and dogs, but the blighters had disappeared into the bush. Uncanny, actually, rather like pursuing black ghosts. But we did find these exhibits from the recent atrocities.
That's a nasty weapon.
Isn't it? Can decapitate a man with one swing. Unfortunately, almost everyone in the country carries one. They were introduced to cut the sugar cane.
What's that, Nigel?
That is rather interesting. It was found in front of the smoking ruins of the farmhouse.
What does it represent?
Professor of anthropology, Dr. Lindquist, do you remember him, Richard, says it's a stylized symbol of the black mamba, which of course is the most deadly snake in the jungle. Circle of white represents us, I'm afraid.
Sort of like a skull and crossbones.
Exactly. A grim warning of Mbali. If you ever see one like it, give me a call.
Right. Well, we've taken up enough of your time, Nigel. I think we'd better get on our way.
Yes, quite. Boy, Kabuchi, don't like to rush you, but you must get to the farm before dark.
Thank you for tea. You've given me a lot to think about.
Not at all. I'll walk you to the car.
Thank you.
Well, remember me to Dolly. She's well, I hope.
Actually, Dolly's been a bit upset lately. These killings, you know. Quite a few settlers here have got the wind up and are talking of leaving.
Dolly, too?
Particularly Dolly. The situation can get on your nerves.
I can understand that.
But we'll get matters in hand. Catch these blasted ringleaders and string them up. Meet force with force.
Do you think that's the answer?
At least it's something they'll damn well understand. Well, get moving now. Best luck to you, Mr. Pierce. And Richard, don't pick up anyone on the road. I mean it. It's not the same Africa you left.
Richard, it's been a long time.
It certainly has. Hello, Dad.
Sorry I couldn't have met you, but we've been having our problems here.
Oh.
You brought a friend with you, I see.
Oh, yes, this is Mr. Pierce. We met each other on the plane, and I invited him to spend a few days with us.
Well, how
that's
nice
good.
to see you.
Delighted to see you.
My pleasure to be here.
Jonathan, have the boys put Mr. Pierce's luggage in the east guest room.
You have a beautiful view here, Mrs. Lord.
Yes, isn't it? So restful. Pity those trees aren't in bloom.
Is this your first visit to Africa, Mr. Pierce?
The very first.
Well, you've come at a most interesting period. Big changes. Very big changes. Certainly not for the best.
Now, Father, don't start that.
Oh, please, Richard. Now, Humphrey, don't let's spoil his homecoming by talking politics. They just love to disagree, Mr. Pierce.
Well, you've had a long trip. Will you have a drink now, or would you rather have a wash?
Well, I'd like to get some of this red dust off me, if you don't mind.
Right.
This is a charming room, Mrs. Lord.
Thank you. I hope you're going to feel at home here.
Thank you.
May I take your hat and coat?
Thanks a lot.
I'll take the bag.
You're looking a little pale, dear.
Am I? No, I'm not surprised. We had a terrible summer.
I like those.
Janet did those. She's quite good, isn't she?
Really?
Dad shot these animals. You had a close call with that leopard, though, didn't you, Dad?
Yes, much too close. Are you interested in hunting, Mr. Pierce? I'll show you my guns.
Oh, later, Humphrey. I expect Mr. Pierce will want to change.
Very well, come along then.
Very nice of you to put me up, Mr. Lord.
Well, I do hope you'll be able to be with us for a long time.
I'm afraid I can't, Mum. I'm due back in London next month.
Oh.
I've an interesting assignment. A series of special articles on Africa for the Sunday Outlook.
Oh, but you'll love that. Why, you've always wanted to be a journalist ever since you were small.
That's Mary. I'd know that voice anywhere.
Oh, it's Mary, all right. Such a fuss when she heard you were coming. You know she remembers all your favorite dishes. Nyungu sufuriana basini Sotte tsungana kwam stari Dum dum Tu safisce chikoni pamoja Tu safisce chikoni pamoja Tu safisce chikoni pamoja Indio halia dunia.
Oh, I missed you more than anyone. Oh, Mary, it's so good to be back. Nothing's changed. Everything's just as it always was. Oh, and that awful photograph is still there. Oh, haven't you changed it yet? And you remember that song we used to sing together? Sing it again, Mary. I'd love to hear you.
No, I can't sing that song anymore. That was long ago.
What? Why not, Mary?
Too much has happened in between.
Oh, go on, Mary. Sing it again. You know. Tu sapisce
Chakula itaingua.
My favorite dish. You remembered. And my Hindi.
Kivumbi Leo.
Richard, what are you doing here? I haven't had a chance to talk with you yet. Your mother tells me you'll be going back soon.
That's right. By that time, we should be thoroughly sick of each other's company.
Dinner at 8, Mary. Of course, Pierce, when you've been out here as long as I have, you'll understand these things.
I'm sure you're right. That was very interesting. How long has it been?
Humphrey was born here, you know.
Oh, that's ancient history.
A little more dessert, Mr. Pierce?
No, thank you.
Oh, go ahead, Pierce.
No, thanks. That was a wonderful dinner, Mrs. Lord.
Well, naturally. We have the greatest cook in the world. Where would we be without her? Eh, Mary?
Mary, would you light the fire in the living room? We'll have coffee in there. It gets rather cool here in the evenings, you know.
Yes.
Yes, you'll probably want to sleep under a blanket tonight.
Just like at home in London, eh?
Richard, I do wish you wouldn't be so familiar with Mary.
Familiar? Oh, after all, Father, she practically brought me up.
It's absolutely wrong, you know. She's a servant. Gives her ideas above her station.
Oh, come now. Why, Mary's like one of the family.
We have to live with these Africans, remember, but not on equal terms. Treat them firmly and they respect you. Spoil them and they take advantage.
Father, you make me sick. That smug white superiority went out of date ages ago.
Shall we go into the living room? It's more comfortable in there.
This is what comes of sending a son to England to be educated. They lose all touch with reality.
You know, there are a few people over there who actually think, Father.
You must find that very refreshing. Your mother tells me you're going to write for that left wing rag.
What's a damn good paper?
Yes, for lighting fires.
Oh, please, we mustn't quarrel. Humphrey, this is Richard's first night home.
Well, I suppose for one night I'll have to put up with it. Care for one of these?
No, thanks.
Richard?
I'll have one of these.
You and Richard must have a lot to talk about.
We said it all years ago.
You see, I'm a second-generation settler here, and I resent anyone telling me how to treat Africans, especially my own son.
Will there be anything else, Mrs. Lord?
Perhaps the gentleman would like some brandy.
What business are you in, Mr. Pierce?
Well, I was a lawyer, but I suppose you'd say now my business is the nation. I'm a member of Parliament.
My God, isn't that typical? The government sends someone like you out here who doesn't know a damn thing about Africa.
You know, not to know can be a good thing sometimes. You're apt to find out more.
Yes, quite. Well, we're impressed to have such a distinguished guest, I must say. All the same, the politicians have made a hell of a mess out of this country, if you ask me.
In what way?
I tell you, only yesterday, these people were naked savages, dying off the disease, living like animals, killing each other.
And being hunted down by slave traders.
Quite so. Then we came along, cleared the bush, built homes, fought tropical disease, educated them, made them into Christians.
And tricked them out of their land.
Well, they weren't doing anything with it. Anyway, other tribes claimed it was theirs. And now what happens? They think they can run this country better than we do.
Well, perhaps they can.
I don't say they won't, give them time. Already we have a provisional government here and an African chief minister. But the progress can't be rushed. Look what's happened in other parts of the continent. And now it's starting here.
Well, maybe if we leave them alone, they'd get along fine.
The trouble with fellows like you, Richard, you have an idealized misconception of the capabilities of the black mind.
And the trouble with you, Father, is that you never condescend to talk with Africans. You only discuss their problems with other whites, as biased as you are.
He's right, you know, Humphrey. The only Africans we ever speak to are the servants here, like Jonathan and Mary.
Mary, I doubt that she has any conception of Africa. Africa to her is simply the hut where she lives. The marketplace in the village. The long walk through the forest to church on Sunday where she meets her friends. It's a child's Africa.
Of course, we might ask Mary what she thinks.
Yes, Mary.
Africa is my home.
Huh. There you are. It's as simple as that. Africa is my home.
Shall I clear the table now?
But of course.
You see how childlike her reactions are? That's something young theorists like you, with all your dribble about native rights and social equality, will never understand. Humphrey Lord here. Yes, Nigel. They arrive well before sundown. Quite. No further trouble, is there? Fine. Well, we'll see you and Dolly on Saturday. Excellent. That'll be a great help. Good night. He's sending out one of his boys to help with the drinks on Saturday.
Oh, good.
Nigel was afraid you might have run into that Mbali chap, whoever he is.
Does he really think there might be danger here?
Huh. I'd like to see some of those black terrorists try to break into my house. Believe me, I wouldn't hesitate to blow them to bits with an elephant gun.
What's the matter?
Mr. Richard, you must not stay here. Leave before Saturday.
What do you mean, Mary? What are you talking about?
Please, Mr. Richard, you must go. Don't ask me why, but go.
Early next morning on the hill behind the Lord farm, I watched my first sunrise over Africa. Nothing could have seemed more peaceful. But beneath the surface, there was tension everywhere. What would the day bring? And what about the night that followed? I felt in need of a wisdom greater than my own to help face whatever lay ahead.
Good morning, Mary. You're out early?
And you too, Mr. Pierce.
Good morning.
Good morning, Pierce. Did you sleep well?
Oh, very well, thanks. That's an interesting-looking gadget. What's it for?
Launching rockets.
Rockets?
It's a precautionary measure in case the telephone line's cut. Give me one of those, Jonathan. The troops at the outpost station can see these flares and come to our assistance.
I see. Very useful.
You ready for breakfast?
That'd be really useful.
Ingizis Antukunyumbani, Jonathan.
Dio bueno.
Jonathan's from the north, completely different tribe. Served with us in the war. Far more trustworthy than the local boys.
Well, that's what I call a proper breakfast.
How would you like your eggs, Richard?
No eggs this morning, thanks. Just toast and some of the farm honey.
May I get you something else, Mr. Pierce?
No, thank you, Mary. That was delicious.
Are you about ready to leave, dear?
Very nearly.
Your mother and I must go into Kingari and pick up the mail, do some shopping for Saturday and that sort of thing.
Well, what's happening on Saturday?
Oh, we've invited a few friends over in honor of your homecoming.
Oh.
Finish your coffee, Humphrey. I shan't be long.
I'll be with you in a few minutes, dear. Why don't you show Mr. Pierce around the farm if he's interested?
Oh, I'm very interested. I'd like to find out all I can.
So you can get up in the House of Commons and make a stirring speech about Africa, I suppose.
And why not?
Well, we must be off. Back early this afternoon.
Do you use these much?
Yes. Oh, we're pretty mechanized round here, you know. Nothing old-fashioned about us.
What do you have for livestock?
Cattle. Quite a lot, in fact.
Those are very fine Brahmins, aren't they?
Yes, Dad's been raising them for years. Baran, we call them out here. Jumbo, Fred.
What's the matter, Richard?
Mr. Pierce, you remember Nigel Charter saying it's not the same Africa you left?
Yes?
Well, he's right. I tell you frankly, I'm uneasy.
Anything in particular?
Well, I've always had a wonderful reception before when I went to the farm.
Yes, people do seem to be keeping out of our way.
And there's Mary.
What about Mary?
Well, last night she... Look, let's go somewhere where we can talk. We won't be overheard here. Last night, Mary tried...
I know, I overheard it from the veranda. What do you make of it?
Look here, Mr. Pierce. I don't want to worry Mother. She's nervous enough as it is. There's something going on here. Something...
I think you're right. But isn't that what you'd expect with this Umbali around?
But I mean right here, right in my own home. These people have been my friends since I was that high.
You want my advice?
Yes, I do.
I think you should have a good talk with your father.
With my... Oh, what good would that do? He's never understood Africa, never will. It may seem a rotten thing to say, but if anything happens to this place, he'll have brought it on himself.
All the same, I'd pocket my pride and have a straight talk with him. Otherwise, you may find yourself playing with fire.
I know you're right, but somehow he just brings the devil out in me.
Huh?
Nothing.
Care for a splash more, dear?
No, I'm fine, thanks.
Richard?
I'll have a short one, please.
Your illustrious MP's a rare one. He talks to everyone and seems interested in everything.
He listens as well as talks. Give him a few months and you might even know something about Africa.
I read some of his speeches in the House of Commons. He can stir up quite a rumpus.
Wish he'd stir up one here.
I'm afraid that's another of our friends sending their regrets about tomorrow.
I'm dashed if I know what's got into people. I heard today the Cooper Smiths are moving out, leaving everything to go to the Cape.
They've young children, haven't they?
Even so, they ought to stick it out. Never helps the situation to run from it. By God, if I were in charge, I'd send the Air Force to bomb the forest and burn this Umbali out of hiding.
You really think there is such a person?
Nigel Charter's convinced that there is, though no white man has ever seen him. But whether he exists or whether he's a legend, what he stands for must be destroyed. Personally, I think this Umbali hocus pocus is a good thing.
Why, in heaven's name?
It gives us an excuse to wage all-out warfare against them.
Oh, for God's sake, Father, don't talk like that. It's really unbearable.
Oh, that was Mrs. Grayson. When she heard that we had a real live member of Parliament here, she said of course she could come, but they'd have to leave early.
I'm sorry you're giving this party, Mother, if things are so difficult.
Oh, nonsense, dear. Why, we haven't invited anyone all year. And anyway, we're going to have a very good time in spite of this, barley. Oh, it's getting a bit chilly. Shall we finish our drinks inside?
Good idea.
Mary!
All right, dear. Coming.
Take care of yourself, Mary.
Janet! Where's your fascinating Mr. Pierce? I've been looking everywhere.
Well, he was down on the croquet lawn a little while ago.
You know, he's not even married.
Well, don't forget, Dolly, dear. You are.
Oh. Freshen this for me, will you, boys? Gin and tonic, and not too much tonic. It's terribly gassy.
Isn't it about time we were starting home, Dolly? Everyone else is leaving.
But we haven't as far to drive. Besides, I really think you should get better acquainted with Mr. Pierce.
What, again?
Come on.
Goodbye.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, Pamela, look after Mr. Pierce, will you? Oh, we'd love to. Thanks.
Mr. Pierce, won't you come over and join us?
Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Pierce.
My daughter, Alice.
How do you do?
Now that no one's monopolizing you, I suppose you'd like my husband to tell you all about Africa. He's been out here for years, you know.
By Jove, some of us are given a lifetime to make Africa what it is.
I'm sure that's true.
I'm drawing trumps. Grand slam in spades.
Oh, good for you.
Ridiculously, and if you let a diamond, we could have set the hand.
Oh, anything I can get you, Mr. Pierce?
No, thanks.
Any coffee, Mr. Pierce?
No, I'm quite happy, thank you.
Oh, Mary.
Why don't we ask Mary to sing for us?
I still have some cleaning up to do, Mr. Richard.
That's the one I mean. About cleaning up after the guests. Well, you always used to sing it when my parents gave a party, remember?
No, I won't sing that.
Mary!
And why not?
Well, that's not a song for grown-ups, Mr. Lord. It's a children's song.
Well, if it's for children, I don't imagine it'll shock us.
I'll be your accompanist.
But it's no song for visitors.
Don't be shy. They're not visitors. Besides, I'd love to see you shock Mr. Pierce. I've been trying to shock him all afternoon.
Play. Let's play bridge.
Here's that old African harp you taught me to play.
Harp.
It's been quite a party. It's been quite a party and it's getting pretty late. There've been lots of people, lots and lots of people. I'm tired of all those people and I can hardly wait. When the guests have vanished, then we'll have our day. Oh, whisper lightly, very, very lightly. Sometimes I can't wait for them to go away. Cleaning up after the guests, that's what I like to do. Cleaning up after the guests gives a mighty good feeling inside of you.
Ashtrays and beer.
Bottles and smoke, stains on the carpet, the table, you forgot. Some people leave such a mess, oh, but they do. But cleaning up after the guests gives a mighty good feeling inside of you. It's been quite a party. It's been quite a party and it's getting pretty late. There've been lots of people, lots and lots of people. I'm tired of all those people, and I can hardly wait. I can hardly wait.
Wonderful, Mary.
Yes, quite good.
Thank you, Mary. I do see what you mean. Actually, it could be a little embarrassing in front of the guests.
Oh,
of course,
no.
Mary meant nothing personal.
No.
Naturally not. I think it was adorable.
All the same, I don't think you ought to sing that kind of song, Mary. It isn't respectful even to children. You could put ideas into their heads.
Oh, how deplorable.
Richard, that's enough. Well, I'll say no more about it, Mary, except don't sing that song again or any others if they're like that.
Father, how can you be like that? Of all the damned hypocritical nonsense. It's a very good song. I'm going to print the words in one of my articles, and then add my father's comments verbatim.
Richard, will you please get me my scarf?
With pleasure, Mother.
And bring Dolly's wrap if you don't mind. We're leaving as soon as we finish his rubber.
Right.
Thank you, darling.
you excuse me?
Yes, of course.
Play. Play.
Mary?
Nigel, this is murder.
Let me look, Jack. Dolly, you opened the bidding with 13 points.
And you raised me.
4 down, vulnerable, 1100. I hope you brought along your purse. I won't pay for you.
What are you doing out here?
Nothing.
You're listening to the drums, aren't you? I remember them when I was a child. You used to tell me what messages they were sending.
Yes. Then I could tell you.
Well, can't you tell me what they're saying now?
No. Oh, Mr. Richard, why didn't you listen to me? Why didn't you go when you had the chance?
Richard! Why the devil are you out here talking to Mary? Our guests are leaving. And you, Mary, get back in the kitchen where you belong.
How dare you talk to Mary like that?
Talk to Mary like what? What do you mean? I pay her good wages, she's neglecting her job.
Don't you care what she feels at all?
Mary's a servant.
Mary's a servant. Whose country are you in? Mary is like the mother of Africa. This is her home.
Don't tell me about Mary. I understand her a hell of a lot better than you do.
She happens to have brought me up, Father. Many times she was the only friend I had. Well, listen to me! She taught me what Africa means, and the longings in the hearts of her people. But you treat her like dirt.
By God, I won't stand here and take this from you, even if you are my son.
Sometimes you make me ashamed that I am your son.
If we didn't have guests in our house, I'd teach you a lesson you'd never forget.
Then why not try it? We're alone?
Richard, as long as you're living under my roof, you'll treat me with respect.
Then thank God I won't be staying here long, because I can't respect you.
You can go any time you want, but here I run things my way.
Quite a party, Humphrey, old boy.
Well, I'm delighted you came.
Maybe you can bring Mr. Pierce.
Bring Pierce by all means.
And don't forget. No, I won't.
Don't you think you better let me drive?
You know I'm a much better driver than you, Nigel, especially when you've had a few. Take care, hard drive, won't you?
Goodbye, Mr. Pierce.
Goodbye.
Thanks so much for coming.
Enjoyed it immensely, darling. Bye, Richard. Come and see us soon.
Nigel, be quiet. I told you we'd get home in time.
Oh, Dolly.
Nigel, will you be still?
I can't be still. Oh, look out!
Roger, wake wapi. Sharigani. Maya.
You all right?
I think so.
Thank God we didn't hurt those kids.
Why can't those brats stay off the road?
We'll be damn lucky if we're not stuck here. All we're to do now is to turn around and ask the Lord to put us up for the night. Can't risk this road after dark without headlights. Move over.
Looks like bad weather tonight.
Storm.
Between you and your father, I imagine.
Did he say something?
No, he didn't have to.
I'm going to clear out.
Why?
He as good as told me to.
And you do everything he tells you, I suppose.
Yeah, everything. You don't miss very much, do you?
Well.
I watched you. You've seen to the heart of things around here more quickly than anyone I've ever met.
Well, I try to. That's what I live for. You see, rows between nations are very much like rows between fathers and sons.
Do you think you can cure them?
No, I can't. But they can be cured.
I wish to hell you'd speak to my father.
I'd like to. But honestly, Richard, you're the man that needs to speak to him.
Oh, we've been through all that. It's hopeless.
It's only hopeless if you make it hopeless. Look. He wants you different. You want him different. One of you's got to make a start.
Yes, I know, but... Yeah. Oh, no, the charters are back. If you'll forgive me, I can't face any more.
What on earth happened?
You may well ask.
It wasn't my fault.
Dolly was
really.
driving much too fast, round the blind curve. I've been warning her to be more careful. The more I warned her, the faster she went.
It wasn't my fault.
Smashed headlights, smashed mudguards.
What happened? Yeah, we had an
You've never seen such a mess, Humphrey.
Where's the car?
Jonathan's just putting it away.
Lucky to be here at all.
Tell me, it was all...
No sense of speed, no sense at all. Awfully sorry to put you out, old man.
Oh, it's no trouble,
So
Nigel.
glad you had the good sense to come back here.
I sat on a needle.
Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have left it there.
Well, I'm very glad we did have that little trouble on the road. I wasn't ready to leave the party anyway.
Only wish we'd bought a change of clothes. Without a black tie, I'll feel positively naked.
Mtoto amejeruhiwa, yeye iko nyumbani. Sharigani? Mtoto amejeruhiwa, yeye iko nyumbani.
Sharigani, Jonathan?
A bad thing has happened, Bwana.
What?
A little girl from the village below has been hurt.
Badly hurt?
They think she is dying.
Then we must go at once.
No, Bwana. It won't be safe for you.
But we may be able to get her to a doctor and save her life. Oh, Koja, Jonathan!
Dear Bwana.
Care for a drink, Nigel?
Thanks.
Mine's gin and tonic.
Yours is a cup of black coffee.
That's my car.
Probably mine.
I know my own car. Who the devil's got it? Richard! Richard, come back here.
Humphrey, what's the matter?
Richard's gone off with Jonathan.
Why, where are they going?
Don't ask me.
Wapi mtoto aliyeumia?
Hapana.
Hodi.
Karibu.
Hapana ngia. Mama,
Ndio.
tutasaidia mtoto, mama. Tupeleke mtoto hospitali.
Hapana.
Dio.
Hapana.
Nipa mimi. Twende hospitali, mama. Jonathan, I want you to go back to the farm.
But Bwana.
Mona, tell my mother that everything's all right.
Dangerous for you.
I'll return tonight as soon as I can.
Dangerous, Bwana.
Brenda!
Dangerous, Bwana.
You know what those drums are saying, don't you?
I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Pierce. Now, I must go back to the kitchen.
You're more than you appear to be. How can they be so blind as to think of you as a cook?
I am a cook.
You're much more than that. You're Mbali.
Why do you say a thing like that?
Because I know it's true. I've noticed many things.
You don't know Africa very well, Mr. Pierce.
No, but I recognize a person whose life has been mastered by an idea.
How?
Because mine has been. So is yours.
And that means I'm Mbali.
No, it was your song. A child's song with a knife in it.
You be careful what you say. When you know Africa better, you'll learn it's dangerous to even think some things. It can be death to say them. Have you told anyone you thought that I was Mbali?
I've told no one.
That's wise. I don't know how you found out, but you're not going to stop anything. My people are going to be free. Yes, I am Mbali. They still think I'm Mary, the dear, sweet, lovable old cook whom everyone trusts. If they only knew how the very sight of a white man makes me burn with such hatred I could take any knife from my kitchen table. How many times I've been tempted to do it. I've longed to do it. Not just because they're Humphrey Lord or Mr. Nigel Charter, but because they're white. You're going to wish you had never come here, Mr. Pierce. And I wish you had never come, too. Your people have robbed my people of our land, our animals, our gold, our forests. You've grown up as princes. We've grown up as beggars, living among flies, feeding on scraps. Don't you think that our mothers go through as much pain bearing children as your white mothers, Mr. Pierce? Don't you? Don't you think that they long for their children's future? Do you ever think of that? You come here and hunt our game. You come here and take pictures of our nakedness and our misery. You go to parties and you get drunk. I know what you do with our African women at night, and with our African men. How many times I've had to clean up after a white man while he lies drunk on the floor with the wealth of our country in his pockets. It's been going on for 100 years. Now they can get out. And leave Africa. When tomorrow comes, the Africa of the white man will no longer exist. Yes, Mr. Pierce. The storm is coming. And it's a hurricane.
Mary? We need a hurricane. In Africa and everywhere in the world. Wherever there's greed and selfishness and injustice. But your hurricane will never cure Africa of what's wrong. It isn't big enough.
It will be big enough to rid us of every white man.
Including Richard?
Have you ever shown us mercy? Have you? Why should we?
You didn't answer my question, Mary.
This night will answer for you.
Mr. Pierce, that's what you chaps back home never seem to understand. The settlers have roots here.
That's true. We love our land. We fought to clear it and we'll fight to keep it.
Humphrey, I'm afraid I have some disturbing news.
What is it?
Jonathan just told me that Richard has driven to Kingari.
Why the devil did he go there?
It seems a little girl from the village below here was injured in some kind of accident involving a car. Richard's taken her to the hospital, but he says he'll be back tonight.
He mustn't come back. These roads aren't safe after dark.
I'll telephone the hospital and stop him.
Tell him he can stay at my place. After you get through, I'll ring up the servants and tell them he's coming.
Right. Strange, the line's dead.
I think I need another drink.
I'll get you one, darling. What do you want?
Gin and tonic.
An electrical storm must have knocked out the power temporarily.
Yes, quite.
I'll try again in a few minutes. Nigel, I'm afraid you forgot to close your car windows.
I'm certain that I did. By Jove, I believe you're right.
Keep the ladies company, Mr. Pierce. We shan't be long. Did you notice?
The line's been cut, obviously.
Then my guns have been stolen.
What?
I don't want to alarm the ladies. Do you have a weapon in your car?
Naturally.
Let's get it.
Had to be an inside job.
Yes.
Jonathan?
No, impossible. The new boys I hired for the party.
Was the lock broken?
Don't think so. They must have taken the keys from my room.
Do you think the beggars would try to rush us here?
I rather doubt it. They wanted arms. Thank God the ammunition is hidden in my closet. Come on.
Dolly, I'm so worried about Richard. Do you think he'll be all right?
Of course he will, darling. Nigel always makes a fuss.
Would you mind trying to get through again? I don't know what's happened to those two new boys. They haven't made up your room yet. Excuse me.
The line has been cut, hasn't it?
I think it has.
Oh, it's you, Humphrey. Have you seen Mary?
No.
Well, there's no sign of her or of the others, and there's nothing prepared for dinner.
What's got into these servants? I reprimanded her this evening, so I suppose she's sulking in her hut.
Well, I wish you'd see.
Coming, Nigel?
Why don't you bolt the front door? Just a precautionary measure, you know.
All right.
We'll be back in a few minutes.
All right.
Jonathan! He's supposed to be on guard. Nigel, they've broken the lock.
See anything?
Just as I thought.
What is it?
They've stolen the rockets.
That's pretty cool. You suppose Jonathan ran away to join them?
It looks like it. I thought at least we could count on him. We'd better get back and barricade the doors and windows.
The storm is coming, Mr. Pierce. And it's a hurricane.
Choking feeling that you've got to be free. Then it's like hot raindrops, the pitiless drop, drop, drop of 1,000 slights, of insults, of the hurts they mean to give you, and the deeper, greater hurts they never even know. Now comes the hurricane of freedom, the hurricane of hate. Fly before it, white man, fly before it, white man.
She's going to make it.
Thank God.
We'll have to keep her around for a while.
Mama,
You better stay tonight, too.
No, I gotta get back to the farm. I promised a friend I'd drive him over to Naganda first thing tomorrow.
Wouldn't you be better if you drove back early in the morning?
I'll get through.
You're perfectly welcome, you know. We have a spare bed.
Thanks, but I must get back.
As you wish.
Doctor, I don't want to seem ungrateful. It's just that, well, there is something pretty urgent. You see, my father...
That's all right. You don't need to explain. Just be careful.
Thank you for saving her.
She wouldn't have had a chance if you hadn't brought her in when you did.
Go ahead, Mama.
Go ahead.
Oh, well.
Clock stopped.
Past midnight. I'm so worried about Richard. He should have been back by now.
He probably changed his mind. Decided to stay in Kingari after all.
I hope he did. He'd be a lot better off than we are. Thank you.
Humphrey, do you think they're going to attack?
Lines cut. Guns stolen. It's impossible to say.
What about those emergency flares?
They've been taken too. All the servants have vanished, even Jonathan and Mary. I'm afraid we're in for a grim night.
Isn't there anything we can do?
Yes, we can stay right here where we're reasonably safe. This building is made of stone and it won't burn, thank God. Nigel has a pistol and he's an excellent shot. And in a pinch, I can use this.
I'm sorry, but it's terribly funny. It really is. They have your high-powered modern rifles, and you have their spear.
Mrs. Charles! Mrs. Charles, stop it! Stop it!
my turn for sentry duty?
Not yet. I'll tell you when I'm tired.
Must have dozed off. Why don't you ladies go and get some sleep?
I'm not sleepy, thank you.
Dolly. Dolly. Don't you want to lie on the sofa for a while?
That's very sweet of you, Nigel.
The rain stopped. Perhaps the storm will slacken up a bit.
I hope so.
I don't see anything, do you?
No.
My God, if one will only just show himself, I'll let him have it between the eyes.
Don't bother with that. The servants will move it.
Servants? Huh. You have no servants.
My God, that's right.
What's the world coming to? No servants.
It's a strange thing. All that preparation. And yet they haven't attacked.
No, not yet.
Where are you going?
For my early morning walk.
Just as you please. But I wouldn't get too far from the house if I were you.
Neither would I.
Thank you, Joseph. Oh. No sign of Richard?
Not yet. But if he spent the night in Kingari, he wouldn't be leaving until now.
I pray he's all right.
Janice, dear, you mustn't worry. He tried to telephone us. When he didn't get an answer, He'd immediately notify the police, so he'll bring protection. Never fear.
What are you doing here?
I'm listening.
I hear nothing but the drums and the sounds of the forest.
I hear the voice of the living God. He talks to me every morning of my life.
The voice of the living God. A white man's God. A God who used the Bible to beat my people into submission. A God who taught us how to fold our hands in prayer while you picked our pockets.
I hate your God like I hate your people. I don't believe in him.
I do.
Then, listen to my prayer to your God. God! Strike the white man dead!
He may hear that prayer, Mary. And if he does, you may spend the rest of your life asking him to forgive you.
Do you really believe in him?
You prayed to strike the white man dead. Now hear the prayer I pray to the living God who has seen Umbalis come and Umbalis go all through history, who can lift them up and put them down so the world no longer remembers them. I pray the white man may change, and the black man may change, and together we may learn to live as his children from one end of the world to the other.
Are you talking like that to frighten me?
No, I'm trying to help you, but you're so blind with hate you can't see what I'm trying to do.
Help me? You?
Yes. Your revolution's too small to succeed. I want a revolution that will succeed. I hate what the white people have done in this continent every bit as much as you do. I was born white myself. Do you think I could help that? I'd give my life to see the white man change. But not to see this continent controlled by people who've never found the answer to hatred, nor to the cruelty that comes from hidden fear. I want a continent to which the whole world can turn and say, that's the way men are meant to live.
Those are the things that I want.
You may believe it, Mary, but it's a lie. You're so blind with bitterness. You think you can build a hate-free continent out of hate-filled men. You can't. No one can. Your hate would make you destroy even those you love.
Who have I killed whom I loved?
Where is Richard Lord? He drove to Kingari last night.
Then he's safe there.
I don't think so. He took a little girl who'd been injured to the hospital. A little African girl. He sent word back that he'd return last night. He hasn't come yet. I'm afraid that something may have happened to him on the way back.
No, it can't. It can't. I gave orders last night that this farm was to be spared because I wanted to protect Richard. He's the only white person who ever tried to understand me.
God strike the white man dead. That was your prayer, remember?
I didn't mean Richard.
What you meant is one thing. What God does is another.
Sit down, Pierce.
Thank you.
I see you're still in one piece.
Oh, yes.
Coffee now, Mr. Pierce?
Thank you very much.
Did you see anything unusual out there?
Well, yes, I did. I discovered why this house and all of us in it was spared last night.
What do you mean?
It was by special order of Mbali.
A special order of Mbali?
Yes.
Are you trying to tell us you know who Mbali is?
That's right.
I believe we have the right to know.
I will tell you. I am Mbali.
You're out of your mind. Have you been drinking?
Yes, Mr. Lord. I have been drinking. I've been drinking the waters of hate. I've been eating the bread of bitterness ever since I set foot in this house. I am Mbali.
What does it mean? What does it mean?
I don't know.
I think you do.
Those drums mean that a white man has been found. It's a signal to kill. Courage! Over. For one person, it is over. Richard is dead. Is that true? Mary, is it really true?
I tried to stop him from going. He never would listen to me. But she killed him. By God, I'll finish this. She killed me.
We killed our son, you and I. We drove him from his home. We must face the truth. We loved Richard, but we made him hate us. We love this land, but we've made this land hate us. We seem to have stirred up nothing but bloodshed.
I won't have you talk like that.
You may find this hard to believe. But I cared for Richard as much as you do. He was like a son to me. He was the only white person who treated me as if I mattered. Richard gave up his life for one of my people. And yet, my people killed him. But I want you to understand why they did it. They know, as I know, that the only way to get rid of the white man is to kill him. They know, as I know, that blood alone will purge this continent of a white man.
I agree with you.
What's that you say?
Blood alone will purge this continent. But a different kind of blood than the blood shed here today.
I don't know what you mean.
I mean the blood of Jesus Christ. It cleanseth us from all sin. Nothing short of that experience can touch the root of evil in your country or in mine. You said just now, Richard gave up his life for one of your people. I mean that kind of love, and something bigger yet. Something that can turn enemies into friends. That's what we need. That's what Africa needs, and the whole world. Black, white, every color, class, and nation.
I don't know what to do. For the first time in my life, I don't know what to do.
God can tell you.
God of the white man, God of the black man, God of all men, hear my prayer. Strike the hearts of the white people, the hearts of the black people, of all people under your sun and moon to new life. Bring us to our senses. Forgive us for the past. Help us to take on the future together.